Let me get a recommendation.
It's never been 20.
Here we go, and I'll go with you.
Look at all that busy man. How you doing?
Yeah, she told me that.
Got a fresh one, huh? Mike Slaughter, please see me again.
Yeah, I
Got it all under
Yes,
Because the city golf cart, 18 miles per hour wide.
I knew you were gonna say that. Well, it's Kenny or you?
18. I was like, that's 7 miles over the speed
Mike
limit.
Slaughter, please see me again.
You have time, maybe we meet before department head tomorrow. There's a couple things we need to go over. I'm fine, how are you? I did.
I saw the minutes. MP was the only one that said no.
Shows are done.
Okay. Well, good. That's one. Well, that's my veterans here, so I'm gonna go.
I got one more.
Poor thing. That's the second time.
I can't even remember the last time that I just went for no particular reason. I say for no particular reason. My niece is getting married, so that's the excuse.
Yeah.
But I'm already like, oh God, I'm gonna get done while I'm done. They were gonna reach out. I have 2 days to get everything done. It'll be fine.
Your job doesn't stop if you're here down here. Just follow through.
My family is threatened to take away my phone. I'm like, try it.
They stayed here a lot because of the.
This needs to be. We did strike last night, and then we had this tonight. So I only have like a night and a day to patch to get my house ready. Actually, the one.
But your dates are set.
We went to Cleveland. One back and forth. You always take a big load.
Yeah. That's why I'm purposely creating the larger suitcase so I can bring back and whatever else I.
Gotta be like a.
Well, I'm in Ocean Springs. You're Cleveland, of course, that's 35 miles. Figure it out.
Yeah, do the math.
Sarah, where's the back?
Yeah, you need something.
Hey, did you get my
Yes, I did. What are you hiding in your office? Don't worry about it. Sarah, what are you hiding in your office?
Got the mints are in the back door. You found it? Yeah. There's some in the door. I put some more out.
You don't know what you started then. If they get you off candy.
No, I filled that thing literally twice every Tuesday.
Friday. That's why I'm like,
I like five and then it'll come back.
so I was trying to get some things done and then.
I literally have a big bag on the back.
So the things that I need to get done with her, I can't get done. So well, a weekend a day, so.
Dougie Johnson's house, but it's
Yeah, we're staying at this resort. It's really for my niece's wedding, so.
I'm not judging.
We did just so that we could go somewhere.
Everybody
Like, really, do we need to?
They did all the houses at night.
I mean, we got a map of the island. We're just going to Kauai, so.
It was crazy. He was down there doing some work. I guess I'm gonna go to the same. He was like 49 houses.
Oh, yeah.
I said, just name your price.
That's going to be some of the prettiest parts.
Hired my buddy Melanie. She taught Spanish 3 times. He's good. He's worked with Annette when we had
Ken, I need you to say the prayer for Dr.
Sarah says she won't do it.
And by Sarah, you mean yourself. By Sarah, you mean yourself.
I'll do it. No, never mind, one of them will do it.
You're being funny, man.
Hey, you call Dr.
Write me something down.
He has to do a lot of checking. I went to go there. I said prayer during the meeting. I have to have you say it's going to cost us. I know.
It'll be a ditch, we'll clean a ditch. Good. And it'll be a big one.
Thank you.
I'm going to call the April 19th recess meeting to order. Alderman Companion will lead us in the prayer, and Alderman Wade will lead us in the pledge of allegiance. Please stand.
May we bow our heads, please. Lord God in heaven above, we take this time to thank you for this great city of Ocean Springs, a safe, secure, progressive city with great people. And like along these lines, Lord, we pray for the people of Ukraine. May they take their country back, and may it return to be a safe and secure nation. As we go about the business tonight of the citizens of Ocean Springs, may we have the wisdom to make the right decisions and the right decisions for all our citizens. God bless America. God bless Ocean Springs. God bless us all. For all these things we say in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let the record show that all aldermen are present except Alderman Lord Cox. He is absent. Is there any? Is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Got a motion by Mr. MP, second by Mr. Alderman. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Public comment, agenda public comment. Anybody who wishes to address the board on any item on the agenda may come forward and do so. You will have 33 minutes to address the board. Please state your name and address before presenting.
Mayor, I'd like to speak on 4A. Jennifer says it's being pulled at the last minute. Speed limits.
What's your name, sir?
William Batterton, 5807 Chicopee Trace, Ocean Springs, Ward 1. Did I get to speak?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Put my other glasses on. Can you restart the clock? She asked me what. I just did. Okay. Speed limits. You know, Beckdale, Ocean Springs Road to 30 miles an hour. Alderman, you got bigger flaws within your own ordinance. Let's fix it once. Let's just all back up. Let's look at the whole picture one time and get on down the road with it. We got bigger things to deal with, okay? Than speed limits. Okay? Yeah, I can understand safety, effectiveness, efficiency. You know, that little spot of Government Street's like a racetrack. It's a lot like Ocean Springs Road. True? Okay? My opinion, this change is to appease the golf carters. My opinion. I think a lot of people will agree with this. Okay? You're going to have to revisit this again. Why? You made golf cart 30 miles an hour or less. That put a crimp on a lot of people by doing that, okay? upset the balance. On page 2 of the proposed ordinance, max 35 mile an hour. Ocean Springs Road from the intersection of Highway 90 north to its intersection of King Henry. And right below there it says the Van Cleve cutoff and extension. What's the Van Cleve cutoff?
There were some errors to that. And
Mayor, I know.
Rewritten.
But I worked in the shipyard long enough to understand that talking to some of the older people, there was a logging road. It went all the way to Old Spanish Trail. That was the Van Cleve cutoff. Okay? Got turned into Ocean Springs Road. Fair enough. Clean that up. But right now, between the tracks, Highway 90, there's a speed sign for 25 mile an hour. By your ordinance, it's 35. How to change it? I don't know. King Henry. Somewhere along the line, I was told that it was worked with the police department, public works department, to move the 45 mile an hour speed limit sign north of King Henry to Monticello Woods to allow Monticello Woods golf cart a clear path to King Henry so he comes down. It got moved. Why? Ordinance says it's 35 to King Henry. Why didn't that sign pull back? Okay. Fort Bayou, you can come around the other way. You see them cutting by the hospital, right down, going to Woody's, Rouse's. Is there enforcement? We stopping golf cart?
Speaking of the board of me, sir.
I'm just asking questions in general. Are we stopping golf carts and enforcing? City leaders, bottom line, let's fix the total ordinance. Please, back up so we don't have to revisit again and again. Questions?
Thank you, Mr. Appreciate your
Thank you.
comments. Anyone else who would like to address the board about any agenda items? Okay, next item on the agenda is old business. I need a motion to table 4A.
Make a motion, we table 4A.
Motion by Mr. Aldermen, second by Mr. Hippie. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next item on the agenda, old business, discuss adopting resolution donating the use of the Ryan Youth Center to the YMCA for use of classes. This current donation will expire at the end of the month. Either we'll let it expire or we'll extend it, the donation by adopting a resolution. It was my understanding that this facility was donated to the Y because of COVID, and there was need for social distancing in some of the youth classes and adult classes.
So is that going to just stay blank, or is that going to be filled in for the 2 date?
That's up to y'all.
That's up to y'all. Do y'all want to extend it?
Well,
As
have
a
they?
free
I
donation?
have-
They requested it be
asked-
extended?
Well, that's why I asked if they had requested it.
No, they have not requested it. They have
I
not
don't know if
requested
they.
I mean, if they need it, I don't see an issue that we extend it, but I think we need to have it to something.
That needs to be in the motion when you adopt the ordinance to have
They
an
had
end date.
So,
They had contact.
I guess the question is, okay, so the Y leases to Coney from us for the child care. They requested the use of the Ryan Youth Center for COVID. Now, COVID is no longer an issue. So, do we continue to let them use it as a donation? Do we work out a lease if they need it between them and the
I think we let
city?
this expire if it's about to expire, and then work out a lease if they need the space.
Or you also are still donating $10,000 a year for the employees to go over there and work out. You might could have a trade in that area also.
Okay, so you want to make a motion that we let this expire and then renegotiate the lease?
I make the motion that we let the resolution donating the use of the Ryan Youth Center to YMCA let it expire.
Okay, we got a motion by Mr. Blackman, a second by Mrs. Burgess. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. New business, adopt a resolution designating funds received under the American Rescue Plan Act. Patty, you want to explain this?
Yeah, that was the recommendation for any city under a certain size to go ahead and adopt this resolution saying that we had up to $10 million in lost revenue. I didn't feel like it was extremely necessary because your plans to use this money all fall and qualify under the American Rescue Plan Act. But just in case something would fall through, they suggested, just as a safety net, to go ahead and adopt this. That came from Troy at Butler, Snow and them in the municipal league.
Anybody have any questions for Patty on that?
I'll be glad to make the motion. Make the motion to adopt the resolution designating funds received under the American Rescue Plan Act as defined in the agenda packet.
We got a motion by Mr. Impey, second by Mr. Blackman. Any discussion? I need a roll call on this.
Aye.
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 Okay, motion is 6 ayes, 1 absent. Next item on the agenda, new business, is discuss the 4th of July fireworks proposal from Artesian Pyrotechnics. We have been presented a proposal for right at $14,000 for a fireworks display on July the 4th. If anybody has any questions, comments, in favor of it or not in favor of it, or
We used them for the first time last year, and I think we got a superior product for less price, and we got it on July 4th instead of July 3rd like the previous company said.
I think it was just 12,000
Oh, was it
this year.
12?
Last year.
so what is it this year? 14.
Yeah, but didn't they have some sponsors? They had some corporate sponsors last year,
They had
didn't
about 9,000 maybe, maybe 10,000,
I
but
thought we had briefly discussed not doing that this year.
We did.
Biloxi does it the same night.
Right.
And I mean, we just piggyback on that, I think, and we save a bunch of money. I mean, we're already gonna have resources out that night, you know. And we really need to spend $14,000 on our own show. It's gonna be half of Biloxi's show. Just a thought.
I think we should do it. I mean, this is something that we do, that we give back to the citizens. Everybody enjoys it. They enjoyed it last year, they enjoy it every year. I mean, if there's some way that we can do it. I mean, on a cloudy night, you're not gonna see Biloxi anyway, so.
We've not been able to see them.
Yeah.
Now,
I mean, the thing is, you know, if we can see Biloxi's, I mean, if we had food trucks and, you know, things on the beach, and then we had maybe a band at the fort
We
and
could
do
do
stuff
more.
like that, I think it would be more, because the people are already gonna be on the beach popping firecrackers, so it'd be just as festive, with Biloxi, you know, seeing theirs.
Who are we going to task to organize that in 2 months? Because
Steve.
we're right around the corner.
I'll give it some.
there has been some discussion, and I think Biloxi has their Boom Boom Club, which is largely financed by casinos, to maybe have us participate, not this year, but going forward in the future with them, and maybe moving their fireworks display a little farther to the east, where it'd be more visible to the Ocean Springs Beach. But that's discussion for next year.
But I still think we can get more bang, like Rick was talking about, for our buck with activities and whatnot down on the beach to support people. They're already gonna be there, you know, regardless. Once these fireworks shows, to me, I've never had a problem seeing it from just great beach, so that's my 2 cents.
It looks pretty good.
I'd be inclined to do that next year, when we've got time to actually put some thought into it and make it nice in place of the fireworks. But being that it's last minute, I say we go ahead with the fireworks with the understanding that we can,
I think, what did we raise last year, $8,000 to supplement?
I think it was close to 10.
Close to 10 to help supplement the fireworks show.
And the total cost was
It's not a $14,000 hit to the city.
and who are,
Well,
when,
that's a lot of work to go out and
It
spend
is,
that
and
money. It's very
it's not-
uncomfortable for
It's very
everybody.
uncomfortable, and it's something that we need to get away from doing.
$5,000 of it came from the county.
I think we
did
try
the
it and
resolution to
see
put
how it
two
works.
supervisors.
the answer's no unless you ask. I don't have any problems asking.
She said 5,000 came from the county.
Okay.
I kind of feel like we need to go ahead with it. I mean, here we are 2 months out, and I appreciate Rob's got an excellent point, Ricky too. Food trucks and things of that nature, and people are out there popping their own fireworks. Ours last a short length of time, but the citizens expect it. And maybe we can move in the direction, I like the direction that the mayor has just mentioned. Maybe we will have plenty of time to put that together. And it's 14,000 minus probably the same 5, maybe even 6 that the county will give us. And I think it's a short notice, and we won't have to go out here, and Stephen won't have to knock on doors and ask people for money and all that kind of stuff. I think in the short notice, and we've been doing it historically, I think we ought to do it and then make plans to move away from it in the future.
You're gonna at least keep it on the 4th.
We are keeping it on the 4th, yeah.
That helps some. When you have it on the 3rd and 4th, you have double overtime all the way around. You task the staff for 2 nights in a row, cleanups 2 days in a row. So it does help at least if you keep it all on the 4th.
And was it not coordinated to, I don't remember if it was, I think it was before Biloxi's last year, so. Before, it lasted about 6 minutes and $14,000 down the drain.
I won't give my opinion, since most of you know, the new ones don't. I think it's a lot of money that y'all burn up very quick.
Okay.
It's a half a truck.
It's a half a vehicle.
Yeah.
All right, so,
We can't even get.
is there anybody want to make a motion?
I make a
One way or
motion
the
to
other.
accept the proposal for arts and pyrotechnics.
Okay, so we have a motion to accept Artesian Pyrotechnics present proposal by Alderman Burgess. Second by Alderman Pena. Any further discussion?
Yeah, I just want to say before we vote on this, I mean, it's not about taking anything away from the taxpayers or burning up money. I mean, it's really, they have a show going on right across the water from us, and we can still do a lot of stuff at the port and utilize the port stage for what it is. So I just want to make that clear.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
4-2. You got the, Vicky?
Ricky and Rob,
Yeah,
thanks.
you got the 2 nays. Motion passes 4-2. Discuss implementing the required $1 record fee by the Mississippi State of Archives and History to support the local records office. In order to require for this, Vicki, you want to explain?
We've received notice and letters that we're supposed to be collecting $1 per record to give to the local government records office at the Mississippi Department of Archives and History. To do so, a ordinance has to be passed by you guys to implement the $1 charge. Out of the $1 charge, we keep 50 cents of it to help with our record keeping. It can be used for storage, for books, whatever. And the other 50 cents goes to the state to help us out.
Now, are we already collecting 300 or more a month?
We're not collecting the $1 at all.
Well, we're not collecting any fees?
Not for
the state.
Not for these records.
That's the way I read it, is that if we were already accepting fees for any of these types of documents, that we were to tack on an additional $1, 50%, 50 cents of it would go to archives and 50 cents of it would come to us for archiving or storage.
The $300 is if you're going to send it to them quarterly, monthly, quarterly, or yearly.
that's how it designates how we'll pay that extra dollar we're charging. But if I'm reading this correctly, which I may not be,
Well, you were all in a meeting where they got up and said, most cities are not following this. They said 4 cities and every city's supposed to. They just have started now going around and saying, this has been a law for a long time, and we need to do it.
Over there.
It's a, just I agree, it's a very poorly written statute, to say the least, because it has language in there like it's mandatory, and then it says for participating cities. Well, those don't go together. But the long and short of it is no one on the coast was doing it, or at least no one in Jackson County. Pascagoula got the letter asking them to do it, and I think, again, it's a poor statute. But I think the other cities, Moss Point passed, agreed to do it their last meeting, and Pascagoula is going to address it tonight. I don't know about Gaucher, but
Well,
it's
we were told it's not a choice. Just gonna tell you, that's
All
what, you were sitting there.
Let's
Ken.
make this easy then. If it's not a choice, I'm gonna make a motion. That we implement the required $1 record fee by the Mississippi Department of Archives and History.
you have to do, you have to do it.
Authorize an ordinance.
You have to draft an ordinance. Or authorize.
Well, then we're gonna make a motion that Robert drafts an ordinance to deal with this.
Well, no,
I mean, this is a state agency.
I have a question, and again,
Okay, hold on real quick. We have a motion by Mr. Blackman. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a second by Mr. Empey, okay.
okay, so, and again, Robert, help me with this, because my understanding is that we do charge a fee for documents. When you call planning department, and you want to get, or, what is it, when,
Public records
requests, we charge for those documents.
We
yes.
only charge if you pick some up and we let you know what it's gonna cost. If it's something we can email you, we do not charge.
Gotcha. Okay.
Which this will be inconvenient for us, don't get me wrong, because we follow this statute, people that are not paying anything right now will have to pay the dollar.
Right.
I'm just telling you that they got up and
And
said,
then we're gonna have to set up some sort of e-commerce or some way for them to pay it, right?
well, I guess they'll pay through the way they pay now, just on our webpage or whatever, yeah. So it's not convenient, it's just that they've kind of got up and said it's been the law and we've not been following it.
I want, okay, so we've, any further discussion? Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Eddie, I want to talk tomorrow about this, these fees.
Is there a name?
No,
Is there
no
difference?
nays.
Are you
I
talking
just
about
want to
difference in the
remind us.
dollar, more fees?
Yeah, just the
Okay.
fees in general.
Okay.
In our meeting. Next item on the agenda is discuss adopting a resolution requesting $4.4 million in matching ARPA funds for water, sewer, and drainage projects from Jackson County. So, the county wrote a letter to Attorney General Lieutenant Governor Hoseman and Speaker Gunn, saying that they were allocating $20 million of their ARPA funds to match local governments for infrastructure repairs. So this is, we received $4.4 million in ARPA funds, and we're asking the county to match that with $4.4 million of their ARPA funds. And then our anticipation is to take that $8.8 million and then have the state match that with their ARPA funds. And then all this money will be for use for water, sewer, and drainage. They are aware this is coming. And they did discuss it in their board meeting yesterday about matching ARPA funds.
Ken will have a heyday with that much money.
I guarantee you, I've already planned.
So do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion that we adopt the resolution requesting $4.4 million matching ARPA funds for water, sewer, and drainage projects from Jackson County.
Got a motion by Mr. Blackman, second by Mr. Wade. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Next item on the agenda is discuss adopting a resolution requesting matching funds not to exceed $600,000 from Jackson County to purchase property PID 61335034.000 and 61335031.000. This is the Bayard property on the beach. Property is currently being appraised. The county has said that they would match us in the purchase of it because the Gold Mesa funds that we're receiving, the almost $2.8 million, is not eligible for property purchase. So that's what that request is for.
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we adopt resolution requesting matching funds not to exceed $600,000 from Jackson County to purchase the 2 parcel numbers listed.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr.
Second.
Blackman, second by Ms. Burgess. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, the next item on the agenda is adopting a resolution requesting Jackson County assistance for funding a demolition of a building within the city limits of Ocean Springs. The demolition estimate is $29,480. The county would like for us to demo this building, and that's why they're giving us the money.
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
A motion by
Adopt the
Mr.
resolution requesting Jackson County's assistance for funding to demolish building.
Motion by Mr. Impey.
Second.
Second by Mr. Blackman. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Consent agenda, does anyone have anything to pull from the consent agenda?
Item A, Mr. Mayor, under it's number 22A under Mayor.
Okay, we'll pull item A, we'll address it after the consent agenda vote. Anything else?
If nothing else, I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda with the exception of item A.
Motion by Mr. Impey.
Second.
Second by Mr. Blackman. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay. Item A is authorize Lost Fest Music Festival use of city barricades and trash cans at no cost for the event on Saturday, April 23rd at Mosaics, Neon Moon, and Lost Springs parking lot.
Right, that was in conflict with the item listed later in the consent agenda. There will be a cost, so that needs to be amended to reflect that. There will be a cost to the event organizers for use of the barricades and trash cans for the Lost Fest Music Festival.
Raven, what is that cost?
I think Alan and I talked about $10 a barricade. That's what we charge the movie people to use our barricade.
What about the trash cans?
What did we say, Alan?
$5. Can and
You gotta
bags.
pay for labor and
We'll put it all out before they and pick it up after it's over. And we won't have anybody there working it during the week.
Do they have to have police protection for that? Fire protection? Okay.
I'll make a motion to accept item A as amended to reflect the cost for the items.
second.
A motion by Mr. Impey, second by Mr. Aldermen. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Department report, city clerk. Approve the docket of claims. Anybody have anything to pull from the docket of claims?
I'll make a motion, we approve the docket of claims. All expenditures are appropriate and authorized by law and spread summary on the minutes.
Motion by Mr. Blackman,
Second.
second by Mr. Aldermen. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Authorize the adjustment of water sewer accounts due to finding that the customers did not receive the benefit of the utility and the excess usage were due to unforeseen circumstances. Does anyone have any questions about water adjustments?
I do. Is this ever gonna stop? These are some
Pretty good numbers.
amounts.
It's getting bigger and bigger.
You know, we asked at some point a couple of months ago to look into another way of doing this. Has anybody followed up on that? Mayor?
That's
Or
okay.
we asked for this to be looked at and figured out if we could come up with a different system to.
Yeah, Patty, doesn't our system that we're billing, doesn't it pick up exorbitant amounts?
Right, yeah, so it's supposed to, it's supposed to show who's out of sync. I don't know, because when we did the water towers and we cloaked them and all, that shut down some of we've had to put new batteries. We didn't get some readings and stuff, so I don't know if that is still haunting you all. Or I've asked them before, and some things it takes, they kind of watch it every day. I would just have to ask Eddie, and I don't know if any of you called, I didn't actually see these and look at them myself. I did ask Eddie and him to possibly sign on there what happened. Did that happen?
Yeah.
Did that happen this time?
I
asked them
saw,
to let
yeah,
you
I
all
saw
know.
the explanation on there. The problem is that, so we're removing, whereas these previous ones were what, October, November, so we're getting into the new year now. So there's a delay as far as these, and when they're being detected.
Yeah.
I just don't see how you can go through 1 million gallons of water.
I don't either, not.
Right, well, that was my next point, is that it's that big, see right there? And I mean, that's over the course of what? I can't.
November.
Right, so it's 3 months.
3 months.
So in 3 months, they're assuming that they're getting their bill monthly.
Where is this one at? Anybody tell me?
That one is
That's the pediatric dentist, I believe.
Ocean Springs Road.
So that would maybe be behind there, and unfortunately, a lot of people, including people that live places, they don't go out back and look. They start paying attention to that.
Go back to that.
I see what you're saying.
Go
You're
back
saying
to
the
that
bill should have
triangle.
went up.
My question is this: why did it spike and down exactly the same? When they fixed it, it should have flatlined and went back to where it was. So it's like they used it, and then they slowly decreased their usage. So that doesn't make sense on that one, and I question that one. I don't know.
I think on that repair, it stated that it blew out and they had to fix it for a second time.
Yeah, but it's exactly the same usage. Going up for 2 months and then coming down.
Yeah, but it stretches out over a month's time.
1 month. Well, the second time it broke, it's a little easier to see the explanation, but the first time, no. That triangle right there, I agree with Rob. I mean, that's over the span of 3 months. And you're like, okay, your bill's getting bigger, it spikes, then you fix it, it goes down. It broke again, but that was just over the course of 1 month. It spiked and then they fixed it. So you can see that pattern. That one lends itself a little bit more to a rational explanation. Whereas, like Rob said, the other one does not. To me, that's like just not paying attention to the bill.
Patty, how long have we been giving adjustments in this city?
Since I've been clerk, every month pretty well for a minute.
Well,
I didn't pay attention before then.
Where I'm going with this thing is maybe folks are reading into this that they can just get an adjustment and they're not paying attention. I understand somebody made a comment about they don't go in their backyard.
I agree.
But 100,000 gallons of water is pretty damn lot.
Well, unless it's going, back into an area that you don't see it, which is what happens sometimes. Sometimes we've had situations where they're not seeing it.
Where I'm going with this is maybe we need to think about not giving adjustments.
I agree, yeah. I mean,
Well, we discussed that, and a cap, yeah. I mean, if you use 1 million gallons, maybe 200,000.
Or maybe just go.
And again, you're only allowed one of these.
Just say half.
A year.
We'll figure.
And maybe you're right, maybe we say, well, we're gonna do half, and you're gonna pay half because you wasn't paying attention, and we're gonna give you 6 months to do it. I'm not telling you how to handle it. I will check again on
No, but
why.
it's, as Rob said, this has gotten out of hand.
It really has.
I had one last month, what was it, for almost 6,000.
We went from having none of these, I mean, that's the first 4 years, Ricky, we've been in it. The first 2 years, it was none on the agenda.
Yeah.
None. And
I'm
all
not
of a
even gonna
sudden-
answer that.
I know, no, it's not you, I'm not saying anything negative, I'm just saying, we went from having none to 5 or 6 every meeting. Just 2 today, but, it's still.
We went from 4,000 meters not reading to 400.
Alan might understand it better than I do. Alan probably can tell you a little more than I can.
That's why you're getting more now, because you got more meters reading than you had before.
That makes sense.
Well, there's a lot of things. You got more meters reading. We just had all the water towers. Some of them were closed for how long, James?
They ran about 3 months each, about 30.
They were
about
closed
90
for 3
days.
months, and in that time, the batteries died. So,
You
I
talking
mean,
about on receivers, the batteries down on the towers, or?
uh-huh.
Because they're solar powered, then the tanks had to be skirted.
Mhm. I'm not telling you that's what it is, I'm just telling you that might have fed into some of it. Their bills might have been being estimated, so maybe they didn't see these big leaks if that tower wasn't reading.
I don't know if anybody knows what a million gallons is. But a million gallons of water is like a lot of water.
I agree, but I also know.
It's unusually a lot of water.
And they also know the public doesn't believe what a toilet will do, and a toilet will run a bill way up.
How many of them bottles can
Toilet
you
can be
fill up on a million
$1,000.
gallons?
Okay, so, what do y'all want to do about these adjustments?
I think you could at least ask them to come in. I think we should have, I think one time we discussed that before, that they come to the board meeting and they explain it to you.
You want
all.
to table these two?
I mean,
and
these
have
are
them come in? They're
businesses,
pretty
maybe
big
we
ones.
should do that.
I think so. I mean, this, you're talking 40 bucks like the normal,
Because
I'm
they're
trying, but,
businesses.
Why don't you make a motion that we table,
all right, make a motion, we table this item.
item B? those-
Would you like for them to
adjustments.
come in?
I would, yeah.
Okay.
Second.
At the next board
Got a
meeting, you
motion
want
by
them to come
Mr.
in?
Blackman. Who's the second? Mr. Ante?
I think that's a good
Any
idea.
other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
And I think that needs to be automatic. In the discussion we've had, if it's over a certain amount, that needs to be automatic.
I mean, I agree.
If it's 10, 15, 20 bucks, I'm okay with that.
Everybody's been cutting grass already too. I mean, surely somebody would have to try and run over that.
You let it go.
Okay. All right, we're moving on here. We're moving on.
Hey,
Build a
Kim,
pool up.
let me do this right quick while you're
Okay.
still underneath the department.
Okay.
Okay, so a couple of things, I met with MEMA last Thursday regarding the lift stations. That project happened, it began in October of 2017. We did not get awarded that project to lift the 7 lift stations until September of 2019. Unfortunately, FEMA counts the 4 years from when the incident started. So 4 years rolled around into November of 21, and I had to ask for an appeal to go another year. That had to be asked for from Region 4 with FEMA. MEMA has told me that we don't have an answer. They don't know if we're going to have an answer for another. They can't tell us when FEMA's going to answer this. But if we want to continue, they think we should go back to working it, but you all need to be prepared that you may have to eat it. Now, I laid something in front of you all. I had started an email to you to try to explain it. This was a $527,000 project that nowadays we might be looking at $850,000. You might not get your money back. So what we can do is, let me see the speaker because I gotta read my own stuff. Sorry, that's all right. I can ask that they, the wording would be that we remove that part. We would get $34,000 out of the $39,000 for the immediate work that was done following the storm. We will lose all of the costs that we paid in engineering, and you see the number on this email I sent you all. The 7 stations will qualify for future storms because as long as they're operational during the storm, they told me this would not affect that they would be, and we could decide at a later time to ask again to lift them, or you could all make a decision, because I don't think you all really necessarily have made your mind up that you want to lift them all. And so I just needed to inform you all that they're asking me for us to make a decision on whether to stop the project and just get our money back and then address it again later on down the road, or do you want to take a chance and move forward with the project? And
You'll never get the project complete by November.
No.
No way.
she said, even if you get the project going, Patty, she said, I do not think you will get the next extension.
Okay, that sentence in there, these 7 stations will qualify repairs in future storms.
Uh-huh.
To me, that answers the whole thing.
As long as they're operational and
Let us
following.
continue and go forward, and we'll address address this?
This is actually a positive in my opinion, because we've had so much controversy about which ones to lift, which ones to leave alone. So, I mean, it's a loss on the engineering fees, that's the only negative to it, but.
You don't have to make a motion, but if you would like to, that's fine. When you appoint someone the lead person, and that's what I am for you all with this, I have the authority to make the call. I would not make this call without getting your input.
I'll say we let it ride.
Has the rest of you feel?
Said you don't need a motion.
They said we don't need a motion. I mean, that just mainly I wanted to tell you. I
Unless
also
anybody has
wanted
any
to,
strong feelings.
yeah, I want to make sure to her. I also want to point out the auctioneer called me and he said, hands down, this was the best city or county auction they've ever had. He said having Public Works, having some guys out there, including the head mechanic, and he said people were really impressed with how it got handled. You already know the money that we made because I sent it to you that day. But he said, and I promise you, everybody out there was telling everybody everything that we knew was wrong, and he said that went a long ways. He actually is going to send you all a letter about how great Public Works and everyone involved. Shane, I know, stayed and helped into the night to try to find keys. So I just want you to know the crews did a great job working together.
What about the couple items that's still left?
Do you still have something?
I have a car and an excavator.
The stuff that wasn't on the
What kind of
list.
car is it?
It's that Magnum that's back there. They paid, but they hadn't picked it up yet.
We can call Nick and he'll tell you what we're gonna do. And then we're going to be setting up for online ones probably. Or, I will be truthful with you, we can try to set up online, he's willing to do that. The auction there does sell more, just because they're there, they can put their hands on it. We did have a piece of equipment that a lot of them are still wanting that we did not make it on the list, so there will be a little bit more in sales. So the choice will be between you all. Do we wait? Because we know when we can buy some vehicles and all, we're going to have some more equipment. I just don't know if we'll have enough for a whole another auction. But we can work about that later.
Okay.
Whole lot, we'll just for that one piece of equipment. Or do you have to have a set number?
To be online? No, we can go online, and he just got to get me the contract. And then as things come up, they can go online. He just said the physical auction always brings more.
We got
Yes.
something we need to get rid of.
Right. The other will keep us cleaned up better. The online auction will keep us moving better.
Okay, next item on the agenda is general public comment. Anybody who would like to address the board about any city matter, may we do so now. Address the podium, please state your name and address.
Mr. Mayor, do you want the list, or do you want, it's up here. We usually take up the list, any event. Thank you, members of the board. My name is Stephen Burrow, and I want to be your next circuit judge. And I could sit here for 2 or 3 minutes and give you my qualifications. I put a little bit of propaganda in front of each one of you before the meeting. But other than being on the, being a Pascagoula City Court judge, and other than being currently on the Mississippi Ethics Commission, there's one reason why I think you should consider me seriously to be your next circuit judge. I've watched here tonight, and it's brought back some very fond memories of my time on the Pascagoula City Council. And during your time, you will make decisions that are hard. You will make decisions which are controversial. You will be criticized, and your judgment questioned. 4 years ago, 4.5, almost 5 years ago, I stepped up to serve my hometown as a member of the City Council. I had my decisions questioned. I had my votes criticized, and I had my judgment severely questioned. And I had people appeal from decisions made by my body. But I never, in those 4 years that I served, had the benefit of having anyone sit in judgment of those actions who had ever sat in that seat and had to make those difficult decisions. I offer you an opportunity to have someone in circuit court
who will be in a position to look at your decisions, having sat in your seat, having made those difficult decisions, having had his or her judgment questioned. I want to leave it there, but I do want to thank each and every one of you for your service, because I do know how hard it is to be a councilman, an alderman, an alderwoman, and know that every decision you make gets looked at very carefully and may be subject to judgment. And I hope that you'll consider me in November for a person who might make a fair judgment, not just of your decisions, but of all decisions. Thank you.
Anyone else want to address the board?
I'd like to. Sure. Josh Drummond, Ocean Springs, 2804 Cambrai Circle. Many of y'all know me as a real estate broker and developer here in town. I also own a concrete lifting and leveling business. We've done some business throughout the city for some of the wards. So I just want to let everybody know about the process and the projects that we can do. Anything from getting drainage on roads to flow the right way, lifting sidewalks, lifting streets. We're working with a new product now where we can come in, if you've got a leaking pipe in a small area, we have a resin that will not set up until it hits that water. And as soon as it hits the water, it immediately turns on it and closes off any leakage behind that. So I just want to let everybody know that we're here. If anybody needs our services, we'd love to work with you.
Thank you, Josh. Anybody else want to address the board?
Good afternoon. My name is Linda Williams. I came the last town hall meeting, I believe it was, and I had a couple of 2 or 3 things, well maybe 4, that I wanted to see if we had any status on. One is mainly in Parktown where I reside, and Miss Katie, I had questioned an 18-wheeler that was coming in, and I wondered if there was anything brought up about that. It's a tanker that's been coming up and down Yosemite Drive, and I didn't get any feedback from anyone on that. The other main thing is the drainage coming through Parktown, and also what the status was on paving Yosemite Drive. Yosemite's getting beat up pretty bad. Not necessarily the 18-wheeler only, but it's seen better days. So I just wanted to see if anyone had any information on that for me.
Alan, what is the status? I know Yosemite's on.
It's on the list. They said last week that they should be here within 4 to 5 weeks of starting the city paving.
Okay, well, that's what they said last time.
Yeah, at the mercy of the county.
I understand. We're down to one contractor now too, aren't we?
Yeah.
Mallett Brothers closed shop.
They do the milling and Warren does the paving.
Okay. And Daryl, did you ever get with the fuel tanker guy?
Never have seen him in there to even get a picture of it. So we've went through there several times. Not any, I've spent a week going through there every day, twice a day, and now I've seen him in there. So no, nothing.
Could you call if you see that truck? I mean, that would be the easiest.
I've got a picture of the placard on the back of the truck because I followed him one night.
Can you give that to our code guy? And Parktown drainage is out for bids right now. What's the status on that?
We sent it to the paper. It advertises Friday, so.
Okay. And how long before the
well, it advertises twice. The bid opening
End of May.
End of May 24th, I believe.
So you're probably looking at July before anything.
Yeah, because then we have to send it through the state. So I'd say we'd be looking at construction in July, into July. I mean, but it took a step, so that's big.
Right. Thank you all. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Does anyone else want to address the board?
No.
I'm Katie Yap, live on Parktown Drive. I'm concerned about the flooding. You know, hurricane season is here on us. The back ditches, nothing's been done on it for 42 years. The graveyard ditch water cannot get out. On April the 10th, Linda waded up to my house with her boots up to her knees. Water got in my neighbor's house, his garage. Nothing has been done. I've lost my driveway. That tree has got roots coming. It's going to be at underneath my roof. house. So what's gonna be done? Nothing, nobody has done anything for Parktown. I'm gonna say that and be honest with you.
Miss Katie, we've had this discussion before. That is your tree. If you want to address that tree in your driveway, it is entirely up to you.
Yeah, this is the city's tree.
It is not the city's tree, I'm sorry.
Yes, it is. I have my property surveyed.
Okay, well.
Okay, I have my property surveyed. Okay, I've got it there on each side of my house, on my property. So, what's gonna be done? There, I can't hardly get in my driveway now. The culvert's broke. The culvert's come between my house and my neighbor's house. It's washing away, the soil is underneath.
As far as
Y'all have put us on the back burner.
Was that ditch not addressed by your crews about a week ago?
About 2 weeks ago, because Miss Katie talked to them behind her house, where the fruit trees are. If you talk to them, Miss Katie, how do you?
For us, I feel.
Okay, this part of the agenda is really for the public to make comments and the board to take it under advisement, not a back and forth conversation. So we'll take your comments under advisement and then somebody will get back with you on it.
Well, they hadn't in 42 years.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else want to address the board? Okay, that concludes public comment. Moving on to Aldermen's and Mayor Forum. Alderman Burgess.
So just really quickly, I sent out the code enforcement spreadsheet, I sent out the monthly work order spreadsheet, and the asphalt repair. So if I can, just get you guys to update me on the highlighted items, because I think those are the most pressing, and just where we are on those. But thank you very much. Things are moving. I'm just going to stay on top of them. And maybe this Friday we can reconvene.
Rick.
I don't have. I'm good.
I just wanted to thank everybody involved with the auction. Like Patty said, that went off pretty much without a hitch. Public Works, PD, fire, everybody that helped out. I guess y'all did something there, did.
Pretty good bid.
Yeah, I'm saying, everybody that in the city clerk's office, Mark, everybody that pitched in, helped us make quite a bit of money off some surplus items. So thanks to everybody that had a hand in that.
Mike.
I didn't have a chance to get with you, Carol, before the meeting. Have we heard anything from MDOT about the traffic light at Dean and Mamie?
No, because that's actually being done by Aldi and with MDOT, so I'll follow up. I did hear from their engineer, I want to say a couple weeks ago, but they didn't have a construction date. I don't know, Sarah, if you've talked to Jeremy.
And they said it's going to go under their name and not the city.
Right.
For right now.
I mean, they're still working on it, but we can get an update.
All right, that's all.
Mayor, there's this still, the chamber. The Chamber of Commerce hosts Mississippi Economic Council on May 3rd. Is that not addressed?
Yes.
It's sitting on my desk. Nobody else get one?
You have, Jennifer, you have the motion on the second page.
Okay, no, I'll get, Vicki just passed it to me. You make a motion to approve the Jackson County Chamber of Commerce to host the Mississippi Economic Council on May 3rd, 2022 from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the community center, and authorized to waive the $600 rental fee to promote and advertise the City of Ocean Springs resources.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Impey, second by Ms. Burgess. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, just a couple of items. Quite a few calls, requests for information on beach vendors. We've got a couple of vendors on the beach that rent different things, and just most recently, we've had a vendor show up with about 4 to 6 beds that they set up on the beach, and lease those beds out by the hour.
A band.
Or by the day.
Please call that a band. Thank you.
All right. So anyway,
Running down here, man.
We talked to the county about it. There's no ordinance that says it's illegal, legal, or whatever. But the county is going to take the lead on addressing that, and then we'll discuss who's going to enforce it. So we just had a couple of complaints about that. We're in the process of, I guess, the early stages of doing our comprehensive plan. And tonight, Mr. Slaughter is in town, and I'm going to give him some time on my area of this agenda to show you where he is on the comprehensive plan and kind of how this thing's going to develop. So, Mike, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the board. I'm Mike Slaughter with Slaughter and Associates, working with you, as Mayor said, on your comprehensive plan. And where we are, and I have a few maps here, and I'll flip through some of those, and I can leave these here for you. But we've gathered information at the local level, the state level, the Census Bureau information, and so forth. And we're getting to the point to where we want to get input initially from you all, the mayor, alderman, city clerk, all department heads. We will set up, I will get with your city clerk shortly in the near future and set up meetings where we're here for a couple of days and where we get input from each and every one of you, department heads, school superintendents, chamber of commerce, stakeholders in the community, and so forth on our initial wave. This goes directly to element number 1 in the comprehensive plan, which is goals and objectives. This is where we make this plan, this city's plan, this community's plan. So I'll get with Patty, and we'll be setting up those meetings in the near future. Once we gather that information and process that information, then we'll set up meetings where we invite the general public in to get their input. We'll do a presentation, a PowerPoint presentation, tell them about what a comprehensive plan is, show them what we have, and certainly get the general public's information. The bottom line about this comprehensive plan is really, the way I look at it, is we want to protect and enhance our quality of life. And the city provides a lot of services that the general public, and I can speak to myself as a general public living in the city of Oxford, but that the city provides that we oftentimes take for granted, whether it has to do with water, sewer, police, fire protection, street maintenance, and so forth, parks and recreation. And we want to make sure we protect what we have and even enhance what we have. Shown here on the map before me, I have outlined in green the existing corporate limits of the city of Ocean Springs. When we're doing a comprehensive planning area, we don't run with blinders on and just limit it to just the existing city limits, because there's people above and beyond your corporate limits that identify with the city of Ocean Springs, whether it has to do with jobs, whether it has to do with education, shopping, eating out, whatever it may be, they do identify. So you may have seen this map before I sent down, where this salmon colored area outlined in red identifies what we call as our planning area. And we can do that from a comprehensive planning standpoint. We want to plan above and beyond our corporate limits, existing corporate limits, because our comprehensive plan is a plan. It's not like an ordinance such as a zoning ordinance or subdivision regulation or sign ordinance that really has teeth and something you can execute. You can execute this as a plan and not as an ordinance or a regulation. And it's important. You have subdivision regulations, sign ordinances, other things like that. They're really implementation tools for the comprehensive plan. So we want to plan far and beyond in a reasonable amount of area for this comprehensive planning area. We have put together, we have aerial photos here. We have maps identifying the fire districts and the ratings and stations outside of the existing city. We have maps where we're gonna look at the transportation plans, and that where that has to do with automobile traffic, truck traffic, bike lanes, walking paths, and so forth. So that's sort of been a summary of what we're looking at. Our future land use element, we're gonna do an existing land use survey inside the existing city. I think we'll get with your planning department for assistance on that in order to save time and money, because that will be very important in our future land use map and ultimately making any zoning changes or rezonings and so forth. So I just want to give you a brief update of where we're headed. I can leave this map for you and these maps for you. We'll be getting with you shortly and meeting with everyone and then eventually the general public. So Mr. Mayor, I'll turn it back over to you if there's any questions.
Anybody have any questions?
Thank you very much. We'll be getting with you shortly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, need a motion to go into closed session to determine the necessity of going into executive session. Got a motion by Mr. Aldermen. Second by Mr. Impey. All in favor? Aye. Okay. The board will go into closed session now. We're going to ask that this room be vacated other than department heads and the board. And then we'll decide whether we're going to go into executive session.
Yeah, I did.
Thank you.
You spoke to Darren?
He deserves it. Hey, Mayor, good to see you. Thank you for having me.
Now, I'm going to ask her, will you answer?
I don't have anything. I'm not calling.
She's got a house mobile, she's got to put in this stuff. I'll get a group together. Yeah, we can put all in. This is take off the video of all the weekend in the green.
You don't know?
It's like
I
a
forgot. She's
phone.
a conference lady.
All you do is like a phone. It's just a phone.
Do you want me to go ahead and call? When we start.
Who do you need?
Band could play 4th of July weekend at the fort.
I got it.
On the beach.
It's biggest event ever. They turn the camera on.
You know, there's. I got it.
Does the camera stay on for this? Does the camera stay on for this?
No, the camera's going to come on.
You have to say what
Say what
the
your
motion is for to be in executive session, then I turn it off.
Okay.
Okay, everybody's good? Okay, we need a motion to go into executive session to discuss potential legal matters.
What's the best way to phrase that, Robert? She said litigation, potential litigation.
I would use potential
litigation, okay.
All right, I'll make a motion, we go into executive session to discuss potential litigation.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Blackman, second by Mr. Impey.
Kenny, if you would put potential and pending.
Okay, I'll modify my motion to say potential and pending litigation.
Okay. So we have a motion by Mr. Blackman, a second by Mr. Impey. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We're now in executive session.
We're not live.
We're not live.